Upon arrival, prepare to immediately commence Project Danny Dymond. The objective will be to systematically replace the languages of human life forms with various types of dance. Commence operation in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to dance. Is anybody out there?
And welcome to Pride London Network. Once again, my name is Stephen D'Amelio, president of Pride London Festival, and it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our next guests on the TradeMark program, a recording artist, and of course a professional all around. Please help me welcome Danny Dymond. Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I think as we continue to say, we're trying to keep our sanity as best as possible. But I'm joining you from my home in London, Ontario. And where are you right now?
I'm actually at home as well in Hamilton.
In beautiful Hamilton, Ontario. If anyone has not had a chance to visit, they should definitely check it out, especially coming on the way in. It is absolutely gorgeous of a view. And you're originally from Toronto, if I'm correct. Is that right?
So I lived in Toronto for 5 years. I grew up in Caledonia, which is a small town about 20 minutes south of Hamilton. So that's kind of where the majority of my upbringing was. And then I moved into Hamilton for school. That's where I started doing music, actually, was with the college. And then post-college, moved to Toronto for about 5.5 years. Experienced it, had a lot of fun, but Hamilton was calling for me to come back. Basically, I just couldn't get over the city, and I wanted to be back in my roots. And I have a lot of family here and a lot of really old friends from my childhood as well as from school. So yeah, I'm back in Hamilton now. Toronto's only a little bit of a trip away. So
it's great to hear that you are back with family and friends. I think, especially during these times, it's really important to be close with the ones that you love and love you, whether that's your family or your chosen family or both. So that's awesome. Now, just for everybody out there, just to kind of start off, Danny, what are your preferred pronouns?
he.
And when you mentioned, as you said earlier, that you have been in various cities, you've had a chance to explore different areas. When did you first get into music and why?
That's a good question. So I went to school for media production, communications, media, and film. That's the route I was taking when I was younger. I kind of thought that's the direction I wanted to go in professionally and long term. During my studies there, I was there for 4 years. My 4th year, I actually was the event coordinator for the Students Association as part of my co-op placement. So I was lucky enough to get a paid job, basically working and doing the events and the marketing and basically working with all of the musical and entertainment acts that came and visited the college campus during my time there. And that's what kind of got me into the music vibe. I started, working with artists and musical artists and getting into that kind of a back industry apart from the film stuff. And I was really interested in it. And that's where it kind of sparked my idea that I wanted to start creating music and being an artist myself. And I've always loved performing, and being able to get into the music industry through that avenue, which I never expected, really opened my eyes to that world.
That's really, really fascinating. I mean, having the chance to actually not only, work behind the scenes and see how the bookings and, working with the talent works, but also to actually get a chance to meet some of these artists and book some of these artists. I'm curious, was there a band that you were, or an artist that you were really keen on, or really surprised, or really happy to have a chance to meet or even book?
Yeah, so when I got hired on, they do this every year with all of the marketing and event, basically employees throughout the colleges every year. It's called COCA. It's the Campus Organization of Campus Activities. Basically, it's a showcase for artists that you go to these showcases during the nighttime and you see acts that you could potentially book for your college. It's a networking event as well. During the day, they have seminars and information stuff, and a lot of events and marketing information that you can kind of pick up and learn. And there were a lot of artists. Carly Rae Jepsen was being represented there. Skrillex at the time. This is a while back, so they were kind of more mainstream. And when I was at the college, one of the acts that did come that we did it on booking that I was very happy about was Dragonette. I loved their show. It was high energy. It was probably my favorite night over a year that I was doing it there. So it was a night to remember for sure. We had Classified there, the rapper. We had Sam Roberts' band. That was really cool as well. He put on a great show. He's very relaxed gentleman.
It sounds like there was a lot of talent that you had a chance to work with. Dragonette, of course, is really popular for that Hello song back, as you said, in the early 2000s, or late 2000s, I should say. And a lot of different bands, Sam Roberts, as you mentioned, some other great names. Speaking of some of these names, for your perspective, when you started to get into music, who are your three big influences that kind of pushed you or propelled you and maybe kind of helped you create that sound that you have now?
Depends on the day. I have a lot of artists underground artists that I really enjoy, that I pull from. So whether it's vocally, I might pull from like someone like Adam Lambert, where instrumentally it might be someone like Gorgon City, who is a deep house duo that I love. They have amazing music. I pull a lot of my vibes and my sounds from that and my references to that. Performance wise, I was a very typical young gay male that enjoyed a lot of Lady Gaga and Britney Spears, as they all do. And it was basically a huge influence. Britney Spears' performance art, it was just fascinating to me as a kid. The stages, the costuming, the hustle, like the whole vibe and her performance technique is something that I did pick up on over the years. I know it sounds very cliche, but I feel like her energy and her fire is what kind of brought me to be who I am as a performer now. And it's great that she existed and she was able to be an influence on so many people over the years. And, I ran with it. And that's where I think a lot of my younger influence was the Britney Spears and the Gaga. And then it kind of bled over into more underground artists. Like I find inspiration in local artists like Quanta Style even, or Godex, or anyone basically that really tickles my fancy in the moment. That's kind of where I draw any influences from. I wouldn't say I have three that I, would pick off the top, but yeah, it comes from everywhere.
Inspiration is drawn from every facet.
Yeah, it depends on the day, my mood. Some days I am more passionate than others, and it's a roller coaster, but it's good.
And as you had mentioned, being inspired by so many of these different artists allows you to create your own sound. With that being said, you've had a chance to not only put yourself out there, but be recognized for the production work, the music that you put out there, and actually get signed by a record label based in Toronto, and an LGBT-based one as well. What has that been like to get signed by not only an LGBT-based record label, but one based here in Canada?
It has opened a lot of opportunities for me as a queer artist. A lot of queer artists kind of don't get any exposure in the mainstream media. And So Fierce Music is basically providing that platform for us to be able to be showcased and hit the world and be seen and represented and be able to make awesome music and let my creativity just flood the gates.
Honestly, I have had a chance to go through. If anyone else has a chance, they are on our website on Pride London Network. And of course, you can check out their own website. It is an amazing roster, which of course you are now a part of. So that is just outstanding. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. I know May 7th, as we're going to be talking about, is the release of a new single. But before we get to that, I did want to clarify, As you were just talking about, So Fierce has opened up a door for you and for so many other artists. As an LGBT artist, as an openly gay artist, how has that been for you, not just with this label, but even in the past, navigating through this, music industry? How has that been?
I feel like it's a blessing in disguise. I don't feel like it was anything that made me struggle, except for the fact of being pigeonholed in the gay community. I believe that it actually gave me a lot of fuel and to like add to the fire of being an artist and wanting to make a stand and have my voice be heard and express myself. So I feel like it could have um, definitely, it didn't hinder anything by any means. I feel like it was something that really helped me along the way. And um, being queer in the community as a young person in a small town can be very difficult. So being able to be a voice to a lot of those queer um, youngsters, I guess, that are in small towns that don't really have resources or have anyone to look up to or have anyone to speak to, or have any other gay friends or LGBT friends, it can be really hard. So being able to reach them and go out and do shows out in those areas and, influence them and meet them, it means a lot.
And I mean, anybody that's watching, anybody that is interested in getting into music, I think Danny is a perfect example that even if you're coming from a smaller area or a big city, as long as you've got some passion and creativity behind you, you could certainly get to a lot of good places. And seeing your music out there, I think, as you said, is extremely inspirational for a lot of the young youth out there. Speaking about your music, it struck me as I was listening to various songs that you've had, including Disco Mannequin. I was struck by the differences, the variation that you had in your music. As you had mentioned earlier, I did hear little hints of Adam Lambert in there, and I also heard hints of various electronic music styles. I'm wondering, how would you describe your sound, your music sound as it stands right now, which of course could change?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always changing and evolving. I start off with a concept and an idea, and that will kind of grow and build from there. So it could either start off with, I want something to be more of a dreamy, sexy vibe. And then that'll kind of just propel itself into that direction. If I want something that's going to be more party anthem, hard hitting, then it's going to evolve in that direction, basically. So as long as I just like hone in on one idea, then it kind of just goes and just takes off from there. And that's where I get my sounds and my influences from. I like to change it up, of course. I have slower ballads. I have uplifting, hard-hitting stuff. I've got some deeper house type of tracks. Like I like to mix it up, but my main sound I enjoy to do like most passionately would probably be more of like the deeper house, like slow, with minor chords, like just very like full, soothy, bassy. Like that's what I enjoy the most for sure in terms of where I'm headed now.
I'm wondering, for an artist, a recording artist like yourself, who is, putting his music out there and trying to ensure that everybody out there is hearing it. How has, COVID and the restrictions, how has that affected your ability to create music, your creative process? Has it been, helpful or hurtful in these types of situations for you?
Financially, it was hurtful. I like to invest in my projects, and it takes capital to invest in an asset and to do things properly. And the projects that I like to do, I'm a perfectionist with. I don't like to kind of just throw content out there. So I feel like financially it was a struggle for a little bit, but I had a lot of free time from not working, and that gave me the ability to hone in on my craft, give myself the time that I needed to basically develop some new music and some new content and find out who I am as an artist more. It gave me more time to be able to get on social media and post more and be more consistent. as well as express other avenues of creativity. And so that was a blessing for sure, because, I was working and working and working full time, just day by day. When you get home, you're so drained that, your artistry kind of takes a hit, and it can kind of affect that. And when you're off all day and you have nothing but music to do, it definitely helps. So it is a blessing, and I'm happy that it happened in the way that it did. It wasn't too bad. So
As you're saying, it's been a bit of a blessing. It has been impactful and hurtful, but at the same time, I think there's been some positives that have come out of it. And hopefully with everybody out there, you're experiencing something similar to this, where you're seeing the positives and taking advantage of those, because there's certainly a lot of negatives that I think we're all experiencing right now. So that's really good to hear that you've had a chance to do that. Do you see yourself um, elevating and getting into a position where you might be doing more music like this, or do you see yourself doing different types of work, maybe performing with different artists?
well, we do want to collaborate. We want to have some artists that are on the label do some projects together. So that is something we have discussed and we are excited about. In terms of myself, I am just really excited to be able to produce content and continue being an artist and showcasing what I have in my mind to the world, basically. And it's like being pregnant. You're like pregnant with this baby and this idea, and like having the baby and giving birth to it. And that whole process is just, it's rewarding in so many ways. So that's something I want to continue to do. And now that I have So Fierce Music as a platform, it's going to help me be able to do that and reach more people and make it more worthwhile for me.
You've got a brand new single that is about to hit stores on the 7th of May. Can you talk a little bit about that and the creative process behind that and what that song represents to you?
So What Do You Want is coming out on May 7th, available everywhere. I'm really excited for that. It's my first release on the label. This track means a lot to me because me and Velvet Code basically collaborated on this track, and we wanted to build something that was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel with COVID and being free and kind of coming out of the woods and feeling good and basically evolving out of all the darkness. So that's where the inspiration came for the idea of the track. Velvet sent me some demos, and basically we chose which one we thought would be the best sound for my debut track with them. And then we started writing, and we both wrote portions of the track. We went back and forth, and then we went to the studio and recorded, and it was magical and great. And it was probably my most comfortable recording session I've ever had. So that produced a lot of great vocals that we used for this track, and I'm very happy with it.
That's just fantastic to hear. And of course, it is available currently right now on Beatport. So a lot of DJs will definitely know about Beatport.
Yes, the extended mix is available, yes.
Now, I am curious, as we've been talking about your success in the industry, which is amazing, you've been having a chance to release remixes, tracks, EPs, you've got a record deal right now. What would you give as advice for some of the newer artists that are emerging that are in the community, LGBT plus community?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just say, I don't want to be generic, but keep working at it, be consistent, make a name for yourself, really hone in on your craft and focus on how you want to express yourself to the world, and just be you and have fun and don't hold back. If you hold back, then you start sculpting yourself into what you think that people want to see, and you just want to be able to strike people in a way that surprises them, and that's going to make people wanting to come back for more. So just be yourself, and that's what So Fierce Music's all about, and that's what the queer community is all about.
That's amazing advice. It's not echoed or chambered or anything like that. It is great advice. RuPaul says that advice as well. Just be yourself. If you've got a talent, it is amazing to see. So showcase it. and one day you could be just like Danny. So I am so thrilled, so happy that we've had a chance to chat and not just chat, but talk with you, get to know you a little bit, and of course. For all of our viewers, for all of our listeners on Pride London Radio, we will be debuting Danny Dymond's brand new track, brand new single on the debut day on May 7th. So please keep it tight, locked right where it is on Pride London Network, and we'll make sure that we have that music for you. Again, I want to thank Danny. Thank you so very much for taking the time to speak with us. We really, really appreciate this. This has been our second episode of Trademark, and it is incredibly awesome to have somebody who is representing our community in such a fantastic way and is going great places. I cannot wait for that music video to come out. So please keep us posted.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a really great time, and I feel honored to be able to be interviewed by you guys. And thank you for sharing the information about my new releases and all of my successes. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. We can't wait to have you when we can have you in physical form. I think I'll be so excited to be on stage with you and to be seeing you and hearing you. So thank you once again. Please stay safe. And to everyone out there, once again, Danny Dymond, available on So Fierce Music. If you're a DJ, check him out on Beatport. It is definitely worth your while. He's got music available on YouTube, and we will be placing more of his music and So Fierce's music on our website, where you can check out on pridelondonnetwork.com. Once again, thank you so much, Danny, and thank you to everyone else. Have a great night.